We'll be back from the break exactly 8 p.m. Of course, still driving your business with your Kickstarter, that Smart Means Business, as we bring you the latest that is in the world of business and definitely both local and international. Very key and vital for your business decision making. That is to enhance profitability. Definitely, that's our goal on Smart Means Business. Well, the market's on the Zab platform just about to open. A few minutes as I speak just right now, 8:15. Of course, they'll be opening till 3:15 p.m. East African time, and this will be effective Monday to Friday. Yes, you can buy government bonds and securities with Zabu. That is with as little as 15,000 Ghana shillings. Yes, you can even purchase more than that, but that's just the minimum requirement that is required. Yes, on the weekends, the markets are not in operation and also the public holidays, but you have the 5 days to capitalize and make quite huge profits to be just as a good backup for your shortcomings in your business. Probably could be, you could have had not a good week when it comes to sellings, but actually when you have your government bonds and securities, company stock somewhere, that is quite made easy. Zabu, my money, my future. I'll take East Africa, do something new. Very important to start your day with an inspiration. When you're inspired about what you are really doing, and you get some sort of encouragement. Hope and faith are very key factors when it comes to business growth and sustainability. Something which, well, majority of the business is not in position to actually make it up to the top simply because of that. And sometimes there is a feeling that probably I'm not good enough at what I did, but all you just needed was just encouragement to make you push on. I know sometimes life is hard. It can bring quite hard situations on our table, and we have to make very hard decisions to go through that. But sometimes we just gotta get inspired by ourselves. Of course, if there is no person to motivate you, you're the best motivator to motivate yourself, getting to know that you can actually make it in life regardless of what comes your way. Of course, circumstances are just always there to prove your resistance, your resilience, and in there, your resilience is built and is made much more strong and much more effective. And once it's effective, of course, as a business person, you're anticipated to have leadership skills. And a leader, definitely, all these you must go through them to make sure that your skills of leadership are really put to a next level, an encouraging level in that way. Well, now let's get into the business tips and quotes. And firstly, let's review the business tip of the day. The business tip of the day says that the secret of getting ahead is getting started. And of course, the secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into smaller, manageable tasks, and then start on the first one. I mean, that is key. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. You need to start something. In most cases, when we talk about this, I try to bring it in this aspect of, hey, let's break it down step by step. The first says the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Of course, we talk about ideas so many times, but of course, the most important thing is why don't you start your idea, the idea that you're talking about. It's very important. It's very key. You need to start what you keep always talking about before it really diminishes into the air. Now, sentence number 2 says, the secret of getting started is breaking your complex overwhelming. Now, of course, when we talk about starting, you have a plan that you lay down in a way, and sometimes it's quite very huge, which might not be easy to execute there and then, but it's required of you to break down that big plan, that overwhelming plan that you have. You break it down into smaller portions, try to make it a little bit more, because when you divide it, it's going to give you a clear vision. It's going to give you a clear picture of what exactly you're getting into and what exactly you're doing. And that is going to be a very key aspect when it comes to, how far your project will go in terms of success. So have the vision. You talk about start. As you're getting started, break down what your vision into manageable tasks. That's why he comes to the last line and says, The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into smaller, manageable tasks, and then start on the first one. Now, that is key, because as we break down these visions, it is, if you say you have a vision of becoming a billionaire, probably in the next 10 years, of course, that's the overall picture. That's the bigger picture. You want to be a billionaire in 10 years. But of course, for you to achieve that status, there are steps that have to be done. Baby steps, what we call the baby steps. But of course, make sure that the baby steps are realistic and implementable for you to reach that goal that you're aiming at, to reach that goal that you're shooting at. They should be, realistic, with human life, with nature. That is something very, very, very important. So once you manage that, break down, make sure that every day you achieve a task, and give these tasks deadlines that I've broken down this into smaller tasks. These tasks should last between this period and this period. Well, before you know it, you're a billionaire in 10 years. Of course, a vision has to have a date, a deadline. At least it should be time intervals, knowing that you just don't talk about, I want to be this, but when you don't even know when it's going to happen, that's not real. It's more of daydreaming. Well, now let's sum this up with the business quote of the day. The business quote of the day, it says that success is not what you have, but who you are. Bo Bennett is the man that wrote this. Yeah, that is very, very true. Very, very true. And it should be something about getting to understand that actually who you are can determine what you can have. Because of who you are, the things you have actually get attracted to you. So the biggest aspect in here is that build yourself, build your personality, because in a way, once you build, it's like this whole aspect. If a tree has mangoes and it's ripe, it's not going to call people to come and, hey, come and pluck mangoes of me. No, people are going to come automatically, because why? They see the fruit. You bear fruit. Who you are is what success is all about. You'll be able to attract whatever you've ever thought about. That's why, as much as people try to pursue material wealth, it's it's good. We want these things. I personally want them. But what is the use of having all that when you know that one day, in case you lost it, you may never get it back, or it's going to take you decades to get it back? But there is confidence when you know that even though today I lost my billionaire status, I can revive it back in the shortest period of time. Why? Because of who I am. Who I am, I bear fruit. So I've invested in myself. I can do this thing. So definitely I will be able to get this back. Well, that is it for the business tips and quotes. Hope you've been inspired by these different speeches, and of course, coming in from the different personalities. Like I say, these are quotes that were written from places of inspiration, not just head knowledge. Speaking about, they carry wisdom, understanding, and knowledge at the same time. Well, now let's get into our social media trends. Of course, we'll take a look at what's trending, and it's making some sort of business sense. Well, now, of course, in here, we take a look at, this is at Dr. Otile, Uganda. Of course, that's the 5th Street, Kampala Portal Exhibition. Of course, yeah, something which has really been ongoing. That's talking about the industrial area. Always so many potholes, and when it rains, it makes matters much more worse and worse from that. So, yeah, showcasing that, and that is a very key hindrance when it comes to economic growth, because of the excess jam that is in there. Actually, we just even read it into the press about how people lose billions due to potholes and congestions at the same time. So that is the actual situation. Because regardless whether there is no jam, actually, you will have to move a little bit slow. Okay, this is the Daily Monitor. Of course, Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago has commended citizens and the media for the Kampala pothole exhibition campaign, but says the situation is not about to end because suppliers are on sit-down strike over areas. Yeah, of course, that's the Lord Mayor commending that matter. Kampala pothole exhibition. Very, 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 very horrible for the country. Of course, industrial area this morning, always, when it rains, it's very, very hectic. And you find that definitely when you, like I was saying in the previous, in the previous trend, that it's regardless of whether there is traffic or non-traffic, you will be forced to drive slightly slow, because remember there are some passers-by and shouldn't really drive the car and the mud gets onto them. That's not fair. Still, at the same time, you have to mind the state of your car. You can easily damage your car, because of that if you're in a hurry. So that is something very important. Of course, this is at Robert Kapshenga. Yes, Robert Kapshenga. If you focus narrowly on the Kampala pothole exhibition, you miss the wider impact of what Spare Jim has so cleverly done. Now, basically, he has shown how to engage in politics of protest using technology. Yeah, and of course, lowered the personal physical cost of engagement. And it is the new mode of mobilization. Yeah, that is Robert Kapshenga coming up with that matter regarding the potholes. Now, Namungona, that is just before the flyover. Very horrible in there. And sometimes these potholes also, we can attribute them to the rising number of accidents in the country. Of course, the reason being you're trying to avoid that hole. You can't afford your car to drop in there, and you're going to be forced to turn the wheel on the other side. And before you know it, there is somebody in there, and their life is put in danger just because of the potholes. So that is something to really look into. Now, this is at Rugambwa, and is Ivan Rugambwa. He says, let's be clear. The Kampala pothole exhibition is not a malicious campaign by unpatriotic citizens to tarnish their country's image, but rather it is a patriotic act of citizen agency to draw attention to the sorry state of their capital, so that those charged with the responsibility to fix it can actually do so. Yeah, it can sound like it was some sort of a road aspect. How can you say, it's your country, why do that? But, well, it's to the stakeholders and the responsible personalities to take that required responsibility. This is at Sami. It says that according to the facts, the potholes in Kampala have led to a breakdown of more vehicles and accidents in the city than any other cause. Yeah, actually I just talked about this before, breakdown of more vehicles and accidents. Yeah, potholes. Of course, repair, looking at the factor of the repairing. I remember the servicing, because before you know it, the vehicles don't really travel the kilometers it's supposed to travel before the servicing, but you're already servicing it. Why? Potholes. So that is the whole issue in here. What the different personalities, stakeholders are trying to put into here. This is at Kampala City Council Authority, Uganda. KCA is currently constrained by the limited budget provisions to turn around the situation. And of course, by December 2022, KCCA had recorded an area of 8,500 square meters of potholes, and of course spread across the 5 divisions. Kampala City Council Authority presser on the state of the roads in the city. Yeah, that's granted that. But of course, they got some donations to make sure that this is done. We really don't know how this was distributed. Yeah, it is. We can't tell when it was really put out there. Well, that is it regarding the social media trends. And of course, at this very time, We're heading into our update number 2. And definitely this time around, we're talking about public finance management. Something very crucial and key. What is coming up in here? Let's get into this conversation. And of course, we shall be returning for further discussions regarding this very matter.
Accountable use of public resources. Strong public financial management systems promote transparency, accountability, and good governance, which are essential for effective service delivery and sustainable economic development. The automation of PFM systems has enabled the government to prepare more accurate and timely financial information, which directly contributes to improvements in accountability, transparency, and combating corruption. The United Nations e-government index indicates that there is a negative correlation between automation of government processes and corruption. Therefore, automation of well-functioning PFM systems can lead to tangible results, and the government of Uganda is committed to digitizing its systems. It is clear that public finance management touches every sector of the economy and contributes to the country's economic development. PFM in Uganda has come a long way, and as a discipline, the legal frameworks have been established. However, progress takes time, and it is important to now work more deliberately on the systems and human resources to ensure that PFM enables better public sector results. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development fully supports the Institute in the enforcement of Accountants Act 2013, and imposters should not have any space to distort the gains so far achieved. The economy, Derek thinks this is a point to emphasize. The point on not allowing room for imposters. As the law clearly stipulates, and I want to thank the Institute for all the efforts they have made to weed out imposters from the market, especially the private sector, especially the auditors. The economy has remained resilient and is now recovering steadily from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. In the first quarter of this financial year, the economy expanded by 7.5% and is projected to grow at 5.3% this financial year, 2022-2023, and 6% in the financial year 2023-2024. Uganda's annual inflation eased to 9% in March 2023, down from a peak of 10.7% in October 2022. Plans are underway to widen Uganda's tax base through efficiency gains in tax administration and bringing on board more of the informal sector in the money economy. This is being achieved by government intervention such as Emyoga, youth livelihood and women entrepreneurship programs, and the parish development model.
As you are aware that government is the biggest spender in any economy, and we are basically talking about the transparency with which government spending should be happening. So as the majority of the people in this room who are gathered here over these 3 days are actually government financial management actors, from the central government and local government. So it is a forum where we are going to share ideas. We already recognize the efforts government has made in terms of driving public financial management, the systems that have been put in place, the automation. But we are saying, how can we enhance this so that we can actually be a center of excellence where other countries can actually come and learn from us.
Countries coming and learning from Uganda when it comes to public spending and finance management. I found that quite very interesting. Well, I'm joined with Joram this very morning, of course, to have further discussions regarding this very matter. Very good morning, Joram. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing?
Great.
Well, by the look of things here, first of all, good morning to our viewers. How are you doing? Hope you're well. It's Wednesday morning, and you can easily say it's a cool morning for the business community out there, for everybody who's trying to at least earn a living as early as possible.
Sure.
And of course, by the observation, the day is already busy out there by the look of the traffic flow and everything.
Yeah, it's very busy.
But besides that, good to be back on there.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I like what the president of the ICPAU said. Whereby countries can come and benchmark from Uganda when it comes to public finance management. Very interesting. This conference actually targeted accounting officers, policymakers, economists, members of parliament, development partners, and of course certified public accountants and members of public, among others, most especially when it comes to areas of accountability. Those offices which receive funds and they have to allocate that. So, well, I hope it will have great impact to the people to the responsible personnel that need to get this information.
Yeah.
In public spending.
And of course, you also look at the fact that there is a need to at least train the people who are dealing with public finance.
Yeah, very true.
I think we've got, for example, accounting officers in the country that are heavily deployed, and these are people who look like they are more qualified to run these public finances and everything, and try to manage them. But also, when you look deeply as well in trying to bring up to speed with the fact that the public finances are more to do with a lot to do with is in the issue to do with public financing. That is where you get to see cases of corruption being identified.
Exactly.
So that is why it is a very, very sensitive kind of situation, and you need someone who's really, really
trained and qualified.
Yeah, trained, qualified, but as well very transparent.
Yeah, that is the most important, actually.
Most of them are really qualified and trained, but the only problem or the only challenge is why we always find difficulties in these finances being used for what they were supposed to be doing is failure to put them in. It's normally failure to account for them, if I'm to use that word. And at the end of it all, you want to understand that, well, the benchmarking can be possible, but by the look of things, our kind of groundwork does not give us a clear picture of benchmark, because even when we say we have good policies, and even on the continent they will clearly note it that the country has got good policies as a whole, but then the implementation makes it really hard. That's why when I say we're looking at it as a benchmarking, then we have to first of all benchmark from the other countries that are successful in regards to public financing. Of course, you may get to realize that in Africa, I would think Tanzania will stand out as a country that we really need to look at and see that their public financing, their kind of management of public finances can easily give you a picture that, well, you can easily go hard on this issue of public funds. How you punish the people who violate or who misuse the funds also says a lot, because with the African narrative, you have to be a little bit of dictatorial for something to work out. Yeah, because if you go low or slow on people
will also step on you.
Exactly. So I think it is the same kind of situation that we are dealing with now with the Iron Sheet saga. It does clearly show you that now we are normalized we had normalized just laying off people or giving them lesser or at least transferring them to other offices.
Lesser officers.
Yeah. Thinking that maybe because of their effectiveness, they will stop doing what they are doing. Now this time around, they have to first of all pay for what they've done, for that damage. So clearly this is another step. I think with this issue of the iron sheets, it's a step towards the issue to do with proper handling of public resources. Yeah, exactly. So I think besides the training, individualities need to be also accountable. Yeah, in regards to this.
Okay. That's a very powerful point regarding that. Of course, we're discussing public finance management, as of course we see that it all starts from you as an individual. How are you accountable for your own life? You know, the things that you put out there, then you will be in position to actually to account for the public entirely. Well, it's 25 minutes past 8 now. Let's get into a short commercial break. Definitely we shall be returning with further business discussions. Good morning.
Smart 24